Welcome to the Breath of God. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to studying the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Over the last 30 days, we've reached over 17,000 people with the gospel of Jesus. And just in the last few days, over 33,000 people have been reached with the gospel of Jesus. Therefore, I've opened a link at the top of my YouTube page for online giving securely. And I am looking for 3 people to give $3,000 each to fund the ongoing operations here at the Breath of God. Thank you. Now today's teaching. Jesus is coming. Question is, who is Jesus coming for? So what we'll do is we'll take a look at the characteristics of the people that Jesus is coming for in the Bible. We'll also take a look at what the times will be like when Jesus appears and comes for his church. So first, the characteristics. First is patient endurance. So you see this in Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. Jesus states, "Since you have kept my commandments and have patiently endured," he goes on to say, "I will also keep you from the hour of trial which is about to come upon the entire world to test those who live on the earth." So he's coming for those who have patiently endured, and he will keep them from the hour of trial. Now it's very clear that the hour of trial is referring to the 7-year tribulation period in the book of Revelation. And he also states, if we go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 15 through 17, he says he's going to descend from heaven, and those of us who are alive and remain will be caught up together to meet him in the air. It's very interesting. The word alive can also be translated lively. The lively ones. They're not just alive, meaning physically alive. They are lively. This word can also be translated as quick. They're active. They're not passive. These are the active ones, the lively ones that Jesus is coming for. And the word here, remain, is also used. This word remain means those who are left over, those who survive. So this word remain also alludes to a time of difficulty, meaning it's going to get difficult. There will be tribulation. Although you may not go through the great tribulation or the hour of trial, you will have tribulation. There will be things you have to survive. There will be things you have to endure and remain faithful to the Lord. This is not a escapist message. So you have to remain and you have to survive. You have to stick with the Lord and remain faithful to him. And then the fourth characteristic you find is this phrase, long for his appearing, or they are waiting for the Son to appear from heaven, who will save us from the coming wrath. There's this longing for him. And you see this is characteristic of those who love the Lord. There's a longing for him. Their hearts burn for him. And you find this repeated several times in the New Testament. In 2 Timothy 4:8, and also Hebrews 11, chapter 16. Although Hebrews 11:16 is They long for the heavenly country, this is the expression of their longing for him. Romans 8:25, 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 7, and 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 5. And you also find it in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 10, and Titus 2:13, and Hebrews 9:28, and Jude verse 21. So there's a longing for Jesus. There's a deep yearning and desire for him. And then what will the characteristics of these times be like? You see, it'll be like the days of Noah, and that you can find in Matthew 24 verses 36 through 41. So in the days of Noah, people were marrying and being given into marriage. And then you find during the days of Noah, there were the Nephilim, which were a hybrid race between the sons of Elohim and the daughters of men. It was a time of also great violence and corruption, as in the days of Noah. And God saved Noah and his family from the coming wrath. God commanded them to build an ark, and then before the flood judgment came, God closed Noah and his family in. You can see that in the biblical narrative back in Genesis. It was God who closed them in and saved them from the coming wrath. And only 8 in all were saved during that time. Also, you find the times will be like the days of Lot. And you find this in Luke chapter 17, verses 28 through 30. So, before God sent the judgment of fire, which came down from heaven onto Sodom and Gomorrah, God first rescued Lot and his 2 daughters. The wrath came after Lot and his family had been rescued by 2 angels. In fact, the angels said, hey, we can't do anything until we get you out. And again, only 3 people were saved out of the entire cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Which leads me to my third point is it's going to be a remnant. Just like in the days of Noah and the days of Lot, a remnant will be saved. Jesus is coming for a remnant. And Paul even talks about this in Romans chapter 11, verse 5. He says, so too, at the present time, there is a remnant chosen by grace. A remnant. Jesus is coming for. And these are the characteristics of the remnant and of the times in which Jesus will come for his church. Thank you for listening at the Breath of God. And remember, his breath is our calling.